Yeah, rock and roll, you know what time it is. It's Friday before the Sabbath. And we're on the march, going. Gotta put on the gloves. Got new gloves. Thank you, my anonymous friend, for the donation of these new gloves. My anonymous friend, for the donation of these new gloves. Thank you, my anonymous friend, for donating these new gloves. Gotta turn my head left or right, because sometimes the brakes malfunction. The citizen might press the accelerator instead of the driver, or the driver might press the accelerator, and it's a possibility. And it's cold, the coldest yet, December 2024. Thank you, my anonymous friend, who wasn't my friend because of the money, because I never had any. And they put on these gloves. They got a zipper. Ooh. Gloves in, the other one left hand. Thank you for the donation of the food. Got some food in the backpack. When I get back to the headquarters, gonna enjoy some food. I'm already a few hours on the march and went zigzag across my neighborhood, and here I am. On top to the mountain we go. My second home. Now it's steep already, see? I'm going up the hill. Up the hill. Rock and roll for the farmers, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, grocery store clerks. Encouraging all to work out, train, exercise. Look at that beautiful building. The switch is switch. Let's go. On the toes, step by step. We're going up all the way. Got a backpack on the back. Backpack on the back. Got a backpack on my back. It's got about 44 plus pounds. Thank you for the donation. Some sweets. Some of that good food. And we're going to be feasting on when I come back. So thank you to those who donated. Donation, you know. I am financially stressed. My only stress now is financial. My only stress now is financial. And I just had a little bit of a chat, a few minutes, with a fellow senior citizen. This fellow senior citizen, very smart, very keen. Spoke a little bit about Canadian history, Confederation. We went back and forth across times since the 1700s till now. Confederation and the Louisiana Purchase and almost purchasing of Alaska by Canada, but there was no money in the treasury. Today, 2024, December 20th, my DRT, debt refusing to be best for where we are financially with the fellow finances of Canada. Gotta give a shout out again. Grateful, thankful. My rent's paid my rent, paid my electricity bill, got food and coffee. Got that food, got that coffee, got a little bit of sweets. Thank you for the sweets donation. And my anonymous friend, who wasn't my friend because of the money, for these nice gloves. Very warm, perfect for today. Perfect for a cold day like today. Today is the coldest it has ever been, so I don't know how this battery is gonna go with this new phone, which I am having. And gotta send some love for the Quebec Canadian, North American, since was born in the USA 3 times. Dawe, south, 3 times post 76. Once as a woman, twice as a man, served as a man in the same US Army, 2 different wars, 156 years apart. Heard that right, George Patton, 3 Glass Darkness, a mystic believer in reincarnation, who's gonna go to my second home, going to my second home all the way, Ethiopia, top the mountain. How's that budget? How's the politics? Better yet, how's that loving? It ain't all about fight. Gotta get some loving, love me. Love you for me. Somebody better be some good loving tonight before the Sabbath. Marching and gotta get, for the butchers, the bakers, the grocery store clerks, the cooks, firefighters, LOV, hey. LOV to the firefighter. Said LOV to the firefighters. Somebody making some good loving, man. Good loving. Gotta get it all the way atop. The mountain. Grateful, thankful, rent's paid and electricity bills paid. Got food and coffee and tough times. for myself also, for many, for myself, and just financial stress now. Been through a lot, scars got a plenty. Survived COVID February 2020, February 2020 March, and I survived that COVID. It was like death, pestilence, and disease, you know. When I had COVID, it was like death, pestilence, and disease, like death, pestilence, and disease. I got 3 times vaccinated on triple vax and open for business. Going to my second home now, going to my second home now. Always meditating, saluting the construction workers. I build the highways and hydroelectric dams here in Quebec. Go hydro, go, let's build some more, you know. And let's get that North American Democratic Republic, the North American Union of Public-Private Partnership, and you know, implement Operation Northern Scorpio, implement Operation Northern Scorpio, implement Operation Northern Scorpio, implement Operation Northern Scorpio, $10,000 in debt, but we gotta mass finance it, you know. And on the table proposition for the Great North American Census, to have the Great North American Census, the Great North American Census, the Great North American Census for the population. Gotta give a shout out, LOV, to the bus drivers, public bus drivers, public transit workers, those in the metro station, subway station, buses, LOV, and all the lanes and the highways, the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, those in the daycares who changed some of those diapers today, those in the daycares who changed some diapers today, You gotta be mindful of that. Gotta be on that mindful for them, and gotta be meditating on them, and gotta be meditating on what they're doing all the labor, you know. Those in the fast food, flipping up some burgers, flipping up some cheeseburgers, making some fries and making some salads, and those delivering the food, and first responders, LOV, ambulance drivers, LOV, train conductors, LOV. Yeah, they're not all about fighting. Gotta get my rock and roll marching with it. Rock and roll as I go. You know that's a lot of snow. Snow coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Gotta give it through north, strong and free, but it ain't all about that strength. Gotta give me some loving. Gotta give me some shaker. Those boots up in galore. Rock and roll, you know the lights. Lights are for the holidays. You know, be singing nowadays. You know, be singing on that swing it. They better hit me and not miss it. Gotta give me for the lights. Gotta give me for those lights. Out in the sky, they got planes. Going east, west, north, south on the plains. Gotta give it for the great north through lakes. We got lakes. We got valleys. We got mountains. We got a lot of beer. We got a lot of sweet. We got a lot of sour. We got big skyscrapers, the towers. True, north, strong, free. Put me a little bit of liberty. With some LOV. Yeah. Gotta sing it for you, know. Gotta sing it for you, dough. It ain't all about the dough, and that's, you know, baking all the bread up in the go. Horses, they go mounted up. You don't see it, that's what's up. You don't see it, that's a buck. Aspie, got it, Asperger's, HFA, high functioning autistic. Got it. Rock and roll. It's geopolitics 24/7. Rock and roll 24/7. Sports and fitness. Dancing is my favorite sport activity. Dancing. I love dancing. Dancing is my favorite sport, and dancing is my favorite fitness activity. And rock and roll and geopolitics. That's my holy trinity of what some call obsessive interests, but for us Aspies, those interests are super intense, super focused, super concentrated when we're involved in those interests. So we do not use the appellation obsessive. We use this other terminology, which of course is parallel and proponent to our mental psychic energies, which are neurodivergent. And since I'm part of the neurodivergent minority community, part of the neurodivergent minority community, part of the neurodivergent minority community, I have special interests, and those have interests: the Trinity, geopolitics, sports, fitness. In other words, dancing is my favorite sport, but fitness and fitness activity and rock and roll with that is 24/7, intense, concentrated, and obsessed. So it's not really an obsessive interest for us, because those terminologies have a more negative connotation, but that's what it is on the roundabout. So here we go. As we go, we made it on the stairs, and that's where we go now, all the way. This is from the south, and since I took a little bit on the parallel side, and it took me a few hours to come here, so I already marched a few hours, so now we're gonna go all the way to the top. All the way to the top here. Anybody want to finance? I go up and down these stairs, blah blah blah, 300 times in the stairs for special Dragon versus Trump event. Have been him, and will continue to challenge Donald Trump. Started challenging Donald Trump to a boxing match on the Canadian-US border back in 2018 spring, and thank you, my anonymous friend, who gifted me those red gloves, which I put to good use. Lost a lot of weight since I started my fitness journey in 2017 and 2018, when Donald Trump imposed tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel. Since Donald Trump imposed tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel, since Donald Trump imposed tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel, Canadian aluminum and steel, Canadian aluminum and steel. Since Donald Trump imposed tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel in 2018, that's when I started challenging Donald Trump to a boxing match. Boxing match on the Canadian-US border. On the Canadian-US border. He imposed tariffs, 10% tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel back in 2018, and I stayed out of politics until that event. And that event made me, of course, really kind of get into politics, if I could say, get political, although I was an independent geopolitical theoretical honest and theorist, still am. But the first time, of course, it was Donald Trump imposed tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel back in 2018 in the spring. Imposed tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel, and Canadian aluminum and steel, and Canadian aluminum and steel, and Canadian aluminum and steel. So I have since then challenged Donald Trump to a boxing match on the Canadian-US border in a rink made of Canadian aluminum and steel jointly. Because I am a Quebecer, Canadian, Team Canada, go North America. See, we are, as a philosopher, I always say that we have a collective. We have a collective North American civilizational complex. 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 We are North Americans, North Americans. And here on the mountain, check those lights. Gotta give a shout out. Those lights come from clean, zero pollution, zero emission energy. Workers at the Hydro-Quebec of the 20th century. 20th century, the 20th century. That's what I gotta go doing with that, and that's what we gotta go on the meditation, And that's what we gotta get doing on the meditation, and that's what we always gotta get doing, So it's something which we gotta do, and sometimes which I gotta meditate, you know, the meditation, you know, the meditations and the meditations, the meditations, the meditations, the meditations, the meditations, the meditations as are undergoing now, you know. Always thinking about the truckers, the butchers, the bakers, train conductors, everything, activities, what's happening, unfolding now across Quebec, Canada, and the North American Collective, 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 you know, North American Civilizational Collective, and everything that's unfolding now across the North American Collective, you know, with XYZ and XYZ with that. That's what it is. So here, now, is all I really have, you know. Having survived COVID and back in 2017, across Canada, coast to coast, and before that I was depressed and suicidal. I just remember moving from a moldy place, underground moldy place, and, you know, survived trauma, the Cillian Pirate episode, and here I'm rock and rolling, sending some LOV, pledge your allegiance, legions, to our family, 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 pledge your allegiance, legions, to our family. And 2017 I crossed Canada, coast to coast, coast to coast, coast to coast. Yeah, in August, September. August went in British Columbia, Vancouver, BC, Vancouver, British Columbia, and then I went all the way to from Vancouver, BC. It was in August 2017, 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 and in 2018, 2017 that is, in September I went by train. It took a 25-hour and 44-minute trip, a little bit more than a day, from Montreal to Halifax, Nova Scotia by train. So in August and September I made cross Canada trip, and that was a great event in my life, great event in my life, you know, which completely turned my life around, you know. I was depressed and suicidal, and that's what I did back then, and that's what it is with that, and that's what it is with being here on the now, you know. It's something which I gotta circumvent with that, and that's what I gotta get doing, you know. Sometimes it takes doing and embarking on a fitness journey. Back after I came back from that trip, when I went on the trip, I remember crossing Canada in August, going to BC, British Columbia, Vancouver, and by bus 2.5 days. Hell of a trip. And when I got to Banff, I think that was it. I said, oh, that's it. I had a revelation. I said, such a great country. I said, this is a blessing, you know. I got out of being depressed and suicidal. So that event completely changed my life around. I established a strong esprit de corps with my fellow Canadians, our family, you know, all who come to join us as well. The 40 plus me, you know, will come to join us as well. But my brothers and sisters, the king is absent, you know. The king is absent. You know. We gotta meditate on that, you know, the fact that we gotta it's time for the Republic, you know. It's time for the Republic, and it's time for a North American Union, parallel to the EU, a common passport, and on the table we got a joint, based on my philosophies, the collective joint 911 protocols for the integration of the North American civilizational complex, and we got to refuse the debt, the DRT theory, my DRT, debt refusion theory, to create a new currency based on the value of the US dollar, the UE, and propel us to the further step in our collective North American civilizational complex. This is development and growth in the North American complex. Hey, somebody made it there to the mountain, and it's starting to snow on a bit, so it's gonna start to snow too much. I gotta be careful because, of course, I am doing this video with my new smartphone. Thank you for. I paid it back already. But it was financed. And oh, they're already skating over there. That's Beaver Lake, and they're already skating. Hey, good for you. That means it's ready. Got that beautiful lights over there. That circle, you can come skate. And again, still challenging Donald Trump. Let's do it in the 19th of January. 19 million Donald Trump, and build together on the Canadian-US border the North American People's Imperial Coliseum, a public-private partnership. Built together the North American People's Imperial Coliseum, the North American People's Imperial Coliseum, the North American People's Imperial Coliseum, you know, the North American People's Imperial Coliseum for fitness events and the Forgotten Goddess Temple. That's my will to build the Forgotten Goddess Temple, the Forgotten Goddess Temple, the Forgotten Goddess Temple, the Forgotten Goddess Temple, the Forgotten Goddess Temple. That's my will to build, you know, the Forgotten Goddess Temple, you know, and the North American People's Imperial Coliseum and the House of the Dragon, you know, to build that House of the Dragon. Spirit, pyramid, House of the Dragon, simple, austere, severe, red, scarlet, crimson, scarlet and crimson are shades of red, basically my favorite color, red. I play black and white and rainbow, let's go. How about the Canadians, we don't do the dancing in the snow? Oh, how about Canadians, we don't do the dancing in the snow? How about Canadians, we don't do the dancing in the snow? As you know, let's get that North American collective workers' party. North American collective workers' party, North American collective workers' party, and create a union. My centrist pro labor. My centrism is universal revolutionary. My revolutionary centrism, universal revolutionary centrism, is the philosophy, is North American centric, because we constitute a new emergent civilizational complex. And here we made the great linguistic compromise of the French language, which we continue to do. So let's build together and please NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB. Please reduce the cost of the tickets by 44.9%. And I would have loved to have, of course, 44 billion on the 6th of November if I would have had. I would have taken 10%, which would have been the equivalent of 4.4 billion, and that would be doing 10% of 44 billion. 44 billion is, with a billion is 1,000 million. A billion has 9 zeros. So with 44 billion, I would have taken 10%, which is 4.4 billion, which is 4,400 million, and I would have went dressed down dirty, put a dirty hoodie on, incognito. I would have went and donated 50,000 to fellow citizens in need, vulnerable, homeless. And I would have whispered, this is your second chance. This is my redemption. This is your second chance. This is my redemption. This is your second chance. This is my redemption. Because ain't no way, you know, a billionaire that made the money from a work, you know, labor and work of others as well, you know. So being that civilization is a privilege, we gotta get the global dragon union, you know, the North American collective workers party, the North American collective workers party, the North American collective workers party, you know, the North American collective workers party, PPP base. My dream, the dancing goddess in the dragon kingdom, is fundamentally a binational affair. Public-private partnership fundamentally based in PPP for the collective coast-to-coast, ocean-to-ocean, play that defense like that hardball ball, aka blackout ball like that, hardball ball, aka blackout ball like that, hardball ball, aka blackout ball, play that defense like that hardball ball, aka blackout ball, you know, like that hardball ball, aka blackout ball, you know. My 49ers lost, give some charity, millionaires business, and I would have loved to do a lot of charity right after Trump got officially elected on the 6th of November. I would have went, of course, and I would have distributed, of course. I would have distributed money for charity. So charity is important. I'm not totally selfless without lust. I'm financially stressed, but hey, for the whole weekend now, somebody made you some good donation for food. I got some sandwiches, some sandwiches, even some little small milk, some sugar, some sweets. I will give salutation to my fellow citizen who, on a day like this, jogging, I gotta salute. Keep going, good for you. You just saw in my video, gotta give some LOV, some encouragement, encouraging all to work out, train, exercise, and blah blah blah. I've been calling blah 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 for the mass financing, blah blah blah. People to work out, train and exercise, working out, training and exercising has been, is, and will be my medicine and therapy of choice. Would be my medicine and therapy of choice. I gotta give some LOV and please give some tickets to those who pick up the garbage, the recycling and the compost. I got three services, you know, public services, public sanitation, public sanitation. I'll give some LOV. They're athletes also, you know, picking up the garbage, the recycling, the garbage, the compost. When I worked on the compost back in 2018, right after I came out of my depression in 2017, I started working out. I'm marking 5 years since I created my workout training program system, officially titled the General Integree Total Body Training System, aka the Dragon Army Workout. And I've concluded that humanity is again set towards an international conflagration, you know, towards an international conflagration. That's what my conclusion back in 2019. Cross Canada, coast to coast, and that event made me come out of being depressed and suicidal, you know. And that was a great event for me, and that was something which I gotta be doing on, and that's just something which I gotta be doing, you know. So anyways, gonna get a little bit of rock and roll, and that's what we gotta get doing for that, you know. That's what we gotta get doing for that. That's what we gotta get doing with that. We gotta get it for the XYZ, and that's what we're gonna get XYZs, man, you know. So you're gonna get that DRT, you know. So I gotta give a shout out, you know. Gotta give a shout out. You know. Gotta give a shout out to the hydroelectric dams, and that's what we gotta get doing on that, and that's what we gotta get doing, man. More dams. We need to build more dams. And that's what we gotta get doing with that, and that's what we gotta get doing, you know. So, feel good. Always feel good when I come here to my second home, and I gotta put back a little bit of that. The lights, let's see those lights. I gotta discuss the DRT theory, gotta do some rock and roll, and that's what I gotta get doing with that, you know. So that's what we're gonna get doing with XYZ, and that's what we gotta get doing, you know. Always grateful, thankful, and my rent's paid, and electricity was paid, got food and coffee, and that's what we gotta get doing, you know. Sometimes you just gotta start your fitness journey today. That's what I always say, you know. My fitness journey starts today. That's what I always say. My fitness journey starts today. My fitness journey starts today. My fitness journey starts today. That's what it is, you know. My fitness journey starts today, you know. And your fitness journey can start today. Depending on you got Asperger's, so when you're divergent, I have my capabilities, I'm less able in social circumstances and certain interactions, you know. And your Asperger's has been a tough road, you know, understanding it in the past 45 months since I've accepted it, you know. 45 months, and that's what we gotta get doing with that, and you gotta get doing with XYZ, you gotta get doing with XYZ. That's what we gotta get doing now, you know. So it's always something which I gotta be meditating about. Part of the neurodivergent community. And here we are, mountain atop Mount Royal atop Mount Royal. I gotta be careful not to slide, you know. Gotta get that slip and slide, you know. Gotta get that slip inside, you know. Slip inside, you know. That's what I gotta do with that, so that's what we gotta get doing with that, you know. We gotta get drill. We're gonna get drilling with that, you know. We're gonna get drilling with that. We're gonna get drilling with the XYZs and the firefighters, LOV, you know. The butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, the grocery store clerks, and those, of course, who are involved in the production and the distribution of food, you know. So we gotta get doing with that, you know. So we gotta get doing with XYZ, you know. So we gotta get doing it. Oh yeah, look at the beauty, see that? The red and the green right there, the red and the green. You know, imagine all the work, all the labor, just to have water here to bring to bring it all the way here, to bring it all the way over here, to have water. So, oh yeah, that's my skyscraper. See the Montreal, that's the city. Or the hawk, that's the city of the hawk, that's the city of the hawk, that's the city of the hawk, that's we gotta do it for the spark and for the plug, for the spark and for the block, for the blocks, building that construction workers on the dock, you know that's we hawk, that's the island of the hawk, that's the light, you know we spark, for the X and for the white, for the black and for the rainbow, that's what we gotta do is say let's go, that's what we gotta do is say let's go, for the X and for the lights, and for the do and for the sight, for the melody and for the sing, for the melody and for the bring. Hey, got the satellites up in the sky, got the satellites up in the lights. Beautiful, best city in the world. Here we are at Mount Royal. Belvedere, conjure and act, let's sing a little bit of rock and roll song atop. Freestyle. You see the lights of the city, see the lights of the city, see the lights of the city. Gotta give a chopper, where you at? Montreal, the Hawk Island, that's what we got. Here at the Belvedere, conjure and act, we're gonna spit it and we see it. We're gonna spit it to believe it. Yeah, you know that's the winter, that's the kisses. Kisses for the firefighters, plumbers, electricians, hey, LOV, construction workers that I see, construction workers that I be, construction workers that you and me. You know that we gotta believe it, we gotta see it. On the Belvedere, you know we rock it on those steps, rock it on those left, rock it on those steps up in the left, rock it on those best up in the hey. You know that we sing it out, you know that we sing it up, you know that we sing it out, you know that I sing it up, you know that we sing it talk, you know that we sing it us. We sing it rock and roll, we sing it for the snow, in the snow we sing it, that's the snow me bling it, and we gotta give it for the left, for the right, for the center, that's you know we gotta guess, hey, that's the skyscraper, that's my bed, that's a living up a set, hey, you know we sing it up on debts, bets, I don't get it, I don't gamble, that you know I sing it fumble, I don't rumble. I gotta sing me some kisses. That's the skyscraper, that pyramid. That I love the best you see, that I love the best you be, 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 that I love the best you see, that I love the best you key, that I love the best you deal. Deal for the meal, deal for the XYZ and for the dues, deal for the XYZ and for the dues. There we go. You can. Yeah. Just roll. Yeah, rock and roll. Let's get it for the XYZ. That's my favorite. Skyscraper, the pyramid. The DRT, that refusion to you now, of course. Super important to discuss it. The DRT, super important to discuss it. 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 Super important to discuss it. You know. Here we go. Debt refusion tree is the only solution. Why do I make that statement? Well, the fact is that today we pay on the public debt, of Canada, we pay 46.5 billion in interest. I'm going to repeat. So today, this year, fiscal year, we pay 46.5 billion in interest. That's the amount of interest which we pay on the public debt. Once again, I repeat, we pay 46.5 billion in interest payments. That is a staggering amount. So no way out of this fiscal financial situation, a potential catastrophe and crash, But of course, that we pay 46.5 billion in interest. That is the amount, of course, which we pay in interest, you know, which we pay in interest. That is the amount we pay in interest on the public debt. 46.5 billion, 46.5 billion, 46.5 billion, 46.5 billion. That is the amount we pay upon the public debt. 46.5 billion again. It doubled, more than double. In 2020, 2021, it was 20.3 billion. 20.3 is 20,000 million, right? That is the amount. So 20.3 times 2, that is 40.6, right? That is the amount, you know. So that is how much we pay in interest. Just debt servicing the interest, which we pay on the public debt. So we're gonna take a little cross here and we're gonna go deep. I do not recommend again to go in the wilderness, because you know you're in the wilderness here, you know, so I do not recommend it unless you know the mountain. And for many years this mountain has been my second home in previous incarnations as well. Sometimes I was born a man and woman, and sometimes was born a man and woman. 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 You know. Sometimes was born a man and a woman. You know. So here it is. You know, the DRT, debt refusion theory. The DRT, the debt refusion theory. The debt refusion theory. Explained as I go inside. Deep. Watch how the trees fall here. Trees fall, branches fall. There's danger. You enter the wilderness. Civilization is a privilege. You enter the wilderness. Civilization is a privilege. You enter the wilderness. And I've been in my own wilderness, struggling with Asperger's, also known as HFA, a neurodivergent mental psychic condition, and called it that curse. Rejection, scars, trauma. Survived the surprise attack many few years ago in the Montreal Metro Vicious Press. Fell, hit my head, and had a dislocated shoulder. Right arm wholly dislocated. Went to the hospital, Montreal Jewish General. Then kind of was back home in a coma for a few days and on medication, and I thought that was it. Also, I survived, and that is it. So that is it, So that's what I gotta get doing, So that's what I gotta get doing now. I present on the table. The DRT. The debt refusion theory. Which is the only solution. The debt refusion theory. DRT. Debt refusion theory. The debt refusion theory for the creation of the universal exchange unit, the DRT. Now we pay 46.5 billion in interest. 46.5 billion in interest. 46.5 billion in interest. That's 46,000 million. In 2020, 2021, it was 20.3 billion. 20.3 times 2, that's 40.6. That was 2020, 2021 fiscal year. The amount paid on the interest, just debt servicing, just the interest that we pay on the public debt. In 2020, 2021 was 20.3 billion. It more than doubled. 20.3 times 2, double would have been 40.6. It's now 46.5. 46.5 billion. That's 46,000 million. Just debt servicing, the interest we pay on the public debt. The interest we pay on the public debt. That is the amount we pay on the public debt. That is the amount we pay on the public debt. 46.5 billion. 46.5 billion. That is the amount we pay on the public debt. That is a staggering amount. There's no way out of this but my DRT theory. Sure, due to COVID, the protocols had to be implemented for us to save, to have salvaging. Here, to build a forgotten goddess temple, and pyramid, house of the dragon. So here we are. The DRT is the only solution, paradoxically, and this comes, of course, I guess I could say, out of the curse of Asperger's, a blessing on the table, a blessing of my theory, the debt refusion theory. My DRT theory is the only solution, again, due to the fact that we pay 46.5 billion in interest. Due to the fact, again, that we pay 46.5 billion in interest. Due to the fact that we pay 46.5 billion in interest. 46.5 billion in interest. Due to the fact that we pay 46.5 billion in interest. Due to the fact, again, that we pay 46.5 billion in interest. Due to the fact, again, that we pay 46.5 billion in interest. 46.5 billion in interest. That's the amount which we pay on the debt in interest. I just stopped because I saw a hawk. I believe it was a hawk. I think it was a hawk, but kind of moved a bit. Could be an owl. HAWK, we have hawks here, eh? And those read us antenna telecommunications and radio in a parallel life. I'm also an Aspie, I have also Asperger's, but they're my obsessive, or also known as special interest, is radio, telecommunications, antennas, and everything to do with science and telecommunications. And I know satellites, supercomputers. I build super satellites, supercomputers, microchips, computer networks, and antennas in a parallel life. Here on the table, I'm an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist with HFA, Asperger's, and survived trauma, survived COVID, survive rejection and scars and XYZ, and that's what we gotta get doing, you know. So it's something which we gotta get doing with that. So something which is a must, you know. It's a must. You gotta implement the DRT. There's no way around it. So, and I try to explain it as simple as I can, because due to Asperger's, one of the, some say symptoms, but it's better to use the characteristics, because it's not an illness, it's not a mental illness, it's a neurological mental divergent condition. So the characteristics are repetition, echolalia, special interests, unutilizing, too much verbose, intellectual, sophisticated language when it's not really necessary. So the DRT, the debt refusion theory, debt refusion theory, debt refusion theory. The debt refusion theory also includes monetary integration theory. My DRT theory also includes monetary integration theory. So in my theory, it's integrated in it. Monetary integration theory, which is the financial theory, which was implemented in the European Union. The Europeans in the 90s, more than 25 years ago, they got rid of their old currencies, and they destroyed their old central banks, national central banks. They destroyed them, and they created a common currency and a common central bank, the ECB, European Central Bank. And so, of course, in Germany, and in Italy, and in France. That's what they created. So they created the ECB, the European Central Bank, the European Central Bank. So they created the European Central Bank. You know, they created the European Central Bank. So, of course, my DRT theory contains monetary integration theory. Monetary integration theory is the financial theory which was implemented in the European Union. So we're going to take all the public and the private debt, including my debt, coast to coast, all the public and the private debt. Again, due to the fact that we pay 46.5 billion in interest, only the interest on the public debt. Listen, I don't want to be too alarmist, but it's possible that when the year changes, fiscal year 2025, first week of January, first week of February, a black swan event. It could be the public financial collapse. A public financial collapse of the public finances collapse. It's possible. The interest has more than doubled. Just paying the interest on the public debt is not sustainable. You realize this, right? The DRT theory is the only solution. So we gotta take all the public and we will take all the public and the private debt. My $10,000 to the RBC included. 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 To the RBC Royal Bank account included. So I got $10,000. My debt, your debt, our debt, all the debt. Public and the private 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 debt. All of it. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. So we're going to take all the public and the private debt. We're going to refuse it. So all the debt, public and private debt, is going to be the initial money supply. Initial money supply for a new central bank. We're going to convert all the public-private debt of Canada into the United States dollar. Since due to the fact that the United States dollar still is the currency of choice for world trade, international business, global commerce, import-export, international affairs, and geopolitics, global diplomacy, we're going to convert all the public-private debt of Canada into US dollars. All that money, Canada first, it expanded Canada-US, binational first, Canada-US, preferred it once, it has to be first Canada first, and the United States is the same, so the DRT binational, Canada first, of course, if not expanded thereafter, but it has to be done, Canada. DRT, debt refusion treaty. All the debt, public and private, converted to US dollar. All that money we could add it with the United States dollar, add it with Mexico as part of North America, right? Mexico is part of North America. Haiti, Cuba is a special socialist communist, right? Cuba's a socialist communist state. Cuba's a socialist communist state. Cuba's a socialist communist state. Cuba is paradoxically a socialist and communist state. Cuba's 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 a socialist communist state. Paradoxically, but they're part of North America. Part of North America. Part of North America. So part of North America. Part of North America. So all of it, all the debt, public and private debt, we're gonna convert it to US dollars. We're gonna convert it to US dollars. All that money is gonna be the initial money supply for a new central bank, North American Central Bank. So all the public-private debt is gonna be the initial money supply for a new North American bank, just parallel to what they did in the European Union with the ECB, the European Central Bank. We're going to create a North American Central Bank in a new institution. It takes a public-private partnership. So all the money in circulation is going to be the public and the private debt. So all the money in circulation is going to be all the public and the private debt. Is going to be all the public and the private debt. All the money in circulation is going to be all the public and the private debt. All the public and the private debt is going to be all the public and the private debt. All the public private debt. That's going to be in the trillions. With that money, we're gonna create the UE. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. That's going to be the new currency based on the value of the US dollar. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. The U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. The universal exchange unit, we're going to set an interest rate level of 10%, 10% maximum. It could be 3.33, 7.18, 4.18, 6.1, 9.3, 1.56, below 10% interest maximum. You're not going to be able to charge more than 10% after that. It has to be done ASAP. 21st century, new financial structure. So 10% only interest, 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 10% only interest. That's gonna be able to do it. That's why we're gonna be able to do it with that. So 10% only interest, 10% only interest, 10% only interest. That's what we're gonna do. 10% only interest. That's gonna be the new equilibrium, so to say, a new financial structure, a new financial structure. So all the debt, public and private debt, that's gonna be the initial money supply. The initial money supply. All the public and the private debt, that's going to be the initial public-private partnership. It takes a PPP to do it. So all the debt is going to be the initial money supply. The initial money supply. Or they closed, that means that it's closed. So I don't recommend taking down. But anyways, so all the public and the private debt will be, of course, the new money supply inside this new central bank. To create the UE, with that money, we're gonna be able, of course, to create all a new currency. The UE is gonna be the initial money supply, all the public-private debt. With this money, we're gonna be able to rebuild the infrastructure of the collective North American complex, rebuild the infrastructure of North America, mass rebuild the infrastructure of North America. Build more hydroelectric dams in Quebec. Build 44 tunnels in case of a thermonuclear war. Build 44 tunnels in case of a thermonuclear war. Build 44 underground tunnels across North America for the continuity of the North American civilizational complex in case of a thermonuclear war. Of course, rebuild the infrastructure, the bridges, the highways, mass finance citizens to workout, train, exercise, credit my workout training program system, credit some UEs, Universal Exchange Unit, 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 mass finance fitness, mass finance tourism, citizens to cross Canada, United States, Grand Canyon, Banff, Quebec, Belle Province, lakes, mountains, sea, big cities, small cities across North America, because it's great for esprit de corps and wellness. Mass finance tourism, and build the North American People's Imperial Coliseum and the Forgotten Goddess Temple. Build the North American People's Imperial Coliseum and the Forgotten Goddess Temple. Build the North American People's Imperial Coliseum and the Forgotten Goddess Temple and the Forgotten Goddess Temple and the Forgotten Goddess Temple and the Forgotten Goddess Temple. Build it, implement the DRT, create the universal exchange in it, and create integration across all levels, mass finance, tourism, and environmental purposes, and the DGA Dancing Goddess Army, the North American Integrated Dance League, the North American Integrated Dance League, the North American Integrated Dance League with the Dragon Army. For security service and defense, the North American Citizen Integrated Security Service and Defense, the North American Citizen Integrated Security Service and Defense, the North American Security Service and Defense Force, the Dragon Army, solely for defense, like that harbor ball, like that harbor ball, like that harbor ball, coast to coast, and of course implement Operation Northern Scorpion. Operation Northern Scorpion. The scorpion is a species, the northern scorpion is a species of scorpion which comes to Canada, is the only species of scorpion which is found in Canada. So I'm calling on my astrological brother Scorpio, Bill Gates of Microsoft, of Blackstone, and BlackRock. They split after, of course, 1989, 88, 88, 89, 89, and they split, of course, for 1989. We gotta get it for the XYZ, and of course it's another Scorpio's Larry Fink, and Joe Biden, Scorpio president, which I would have voted for my uncle Joe Biden or Kamala, so that's still a Scorpio president until 19th of January. All things considered, you never know. Could be riots. Tough times for many, mass strikes. Listen, we have to do something for the workers, the North American Collective Workers Party, and I had employments, I worked jobs which I like, but with Asperger's it's contract based, few months, few weeks, and it's always been something on a difficulty, but it's all the work I done, and geopolitics, and of course I've been creating my own workout training program system, 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 back then when I created it, and of course still working out, encouraging all the workout. It's really joyous. I'm just financially stressed, but also hyper vigilant in the public. I got added responsibilities, duties, and obligations, but play that defense, and we're gonna play that defense, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, build on the Canadian-US border for the North American Union, the North American People's Imperial Coliseum, the Dragon Army binational affair, integrate for the new 911 protocols, and implement my Operation Northern Scorpio, which I'm not going to give more details furthermore because of certain things, and for the collaboration in the past I had with CSIS, Canadian Security Intelligence Service, and we got to get on that north, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, and we gotta get coast to coast, ocean to ocean, coast to coast, ocean to ocean. We gotta get on that coast to coast, ocean to ocean, and we gotta get on that DRT theory for the XYZ, and we gotta get on the XYZ, and we gotta get on that serious for the North American Collective Security and Defense Force and stratagems, and we gotta get it for the LOV, so that's how we gotta get doing. Somebody making some love. It's not all about fight. It's not all about fight. It's not all about money. 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 It's gotta get a little bit of fight, fight on LOV, money and some charity, gotta give a little bit of charity for that. Give a little bit of charity for that, and that's how we gotta get doing for the LOV, and that's how we're gonna get on the doing, sometimes it's somebody making love, that's good, man. There's a little bit of that hope with that, that's what it is. So it's doing on the now. So back to the rock and roll, the DGA, the build a forgotten goddess temple, so build a forgotten goddess temple on that, and That's what we gotta get doing, That's what we gotta get doing, So that's what we gotta get doing with that, So it's always something which we gotta get on that flex, So it's XYZ, and we gotta get it on the doors, man. Sometimes now, on the youth as well. Gotta think about the youth. I always gotta get for the youth, man. The youth gives me hope. LOV coast to coast, and the youth of the kingdom, So it's something which we gotta be mindful of, Civilization being on that privileged side, civilization being on that privileged side, Something which we gotta be mindful of. Look at these lights, having these lights. So, all the work labor. I give salutations, to the workers of the 20th century, to the workers of the 20th century, Workers of the 20th century, man. So much brain, so much muscle, Civilization really is a privilege. Can you imagine all the dams, hydroelectric dams to power our electricity here, man. Power our electricity here, That's what we gotta get doing with that. So this civilization is really a privilege. If you make a moment, that was my thesis back in 2023, The privilege of civilization, the privilege of civilization, So that's what it is, man. And I'm grateful, thankful, I know somebody gonna make some good love, Good LOV. Myself being androgynous, pansexual, black, white, men, women, and I'm not looking, I'm just financially stressed, but friends with benefits only from now on. Friends with benefits only, don't waste my effing time. Friends with benefits only, don't waste my effing time. Friends with benefits only, don't waste my effing time, And pledge your allegiance to our family. Pledge your allegiance to our family. Pledge your allegiance to our family. That's what you came here for. Hey, some of that rock and roll up in the door. Rock and roll up in the door, and rock and roll, I'm knocking on the door. Hey, I love rock and roll. My special interest. I rock and roll 24/7. Always for the farmers and the truckers. Hey, all those thousands of truckers now, man. Thinking about them a little bit of LOV. Hey, hundreds of train conductors, truckers, hey, warehouse workers, hey, nurses, doctors. Those who worked in the daycares, changing some of those diapers, ate across fast food. Seeing some of those flipping those burgers, man. Doing some burgers so somebody can go, have some joy. Gotta be a security service. Go so boogie a disco. Shake, go some dance, Gonna be still marching, getting still my workout, before the Sabbath. And then I'm gonna give it on the Sabbath, and I'm gonna give it on the Sabbath. And I'm gonna give it on the no. I'm gonna give it on the no, That's what I gotta get doing on that. And gotta get doing on the XYZ, So that's what I'm gonna get doing on the yes, my yes. Anyways, that's what it is for that. That's what it is for that. That's what I gotta get doing on that, Rock and roll for the show. For the neighbors out we go. For the neighbors on the low. For the neighbors on the goes. For those on the left, hey. For those on the right, for those on the center, for those on the left, hey. For those on the butch, hey. For those on the clamps, hey. For those do the doer, hey. The doers and the thinkers, hey. For those firefighters, hey. For those truckers and the butchers, hey. For those on the go, hey. For those on the no, hey. For those looking low, hey. Looking low, look at the trees up in the snow, look at the trees up in the blow. Look at the trees up in the yo, higher. That's a ski up in the nose. That's a ski up in the nose. That's another brains up in the fog. That's another brains up in the log. Hey, another log, another butcher. Butcher, give me some of those sugar. Sugar for the sweets, sugar for the beets, sugar for the XYZ meats. Sugar for, B and no. And another in the snow. And another in the snow. What you let you know. For another fathers. Oh, the North America, we sing it. We sing it somebody butcher for the hey, somebody got to sing it. For the boys and girls in blue, somebody got to sing for the boys and girls in blue, somebody got to sing for the boys and girls in blue. Hey, ain't nobody perfect, that includes that me and you. Ain't nobody perfect, that includes that me and you. Hey, ain't nobody perfect, that includes that me and you. Somebody sing it. Gotta sing it for the boys and girls in blue. Ain't nobody perfect, not me and you. Ain't nobody loving, gotta me and be some fighting. Hey, Wall Street, give me some charity. That's the lights up in the streets. Hey, maybe strike up in the beats. Strike up in the beats. Strike up in the beats there. Strike up in the beats. You that you see up in the rain. Hey, that you see a holiday sprays. That you see another lane. Hey, changing lanes up in the names. How many truckers? Hey, cause the highways. Ambulance drivers, firefighters, first responders, the butchers, welders, the electricians, the plumbers, gotta send some LOV. How about some artists, millionaires, billionaires, give some charity. My fellow citizens there, cousins, Quebecers, Canadians, North Americans unite. North Americans unite. Special Dragon versus Trump edition. Then you go, keep on that jog, always little V to see people exercising, and you can come here, sled, do some sled, do some snow, do some of that French now, because we're in La Belle Province, so we're gonna have to flip it do, flip it do. It's me and you. I just sled up in the lead, I said, hey, that's another dragon lead, a dragon right up in the rainbow. Dragon send up in the let's go. Dragon send up in the let's Dragon up in the sets you go, as you go up in the fro, and you go up into Moa on the mountain. This is my second home. Mountain, this is my second home, Belvedere, Conjurac. The mountain, my second home, Belvedere, Conjurac. Mountain, my second home, Belvedere. Conjurac, mountain, my second home here, Belvedere, Conjurac, way top, Mount Royal. Somebody skating there, so gotta be on that XYZ and switch it to that French. Because we're La Belle Province, grateful, thankful, got my rent paid, electric bills paid, got food and coffee, and encouraging all the workout. Heading back to my headquarters, It's gonna be some good hours on the march. I want to clock in minimum 6. Because yesterday I did 6. Thursday I did 6. Wednesday I did 6. And Tuesday I did also more than 6. Thursday I did like 6 and 11. And Wednesday 6 hours and 44. So more than 6. Wednesday close to 7 though. Closer to 7. So today's 6, so that's gonna be a good week of workout, marching, spreading, push-ups, XYZ, LOV, dragon, rainbow dragon, let's go. French, cause we in the snow, La Belle Province, hey, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Et on est sur le Mont Royal, dans la neige qui patine, vous pouvez venir vous amuser, faites attention parce que des fois les branches ils tombent. Québécoise, la gratitude en premièrement. La gratitude. Mon loyer payé. Ma facture d'électricité, j'ai payé. Ma facture d'électricité, j'ai du café, j'ai du thé, puis merci pour le don. Un petit peu de lait, du lait, L-A-I-T, L-A-I-T, du lait. Mais puis des bonbons, un peu de sucrerie, des sandwichs, fait que j'ai de la nourriture pour la fin de semaine. Merci beaucoup, j'apprécie bien le don de la nourriture pour la sécurité alimentaire. Ça commence avec les fermiers, puis mon loyer payé pour le mois de décembre. Wow, déjà le 20 décembre. On est déjà le 20 décembre. Imagine, on s'imagine déjà le 20 décembre. Hey, c'est quelque chose. Le 20 décembre avec les arbres, ça s'approche, les lumières. Sur Mont-Royal, merci les travailleurs publics, les infirmières, les bouchers dans les boucheries, les pompiers amour, ou pompiers amour, ceux qui ont changé les couches dans les garderies aujourd'hui, ceux qui sont dans la travail de l'Hydro-Québec, il faut bâtir d'autres centrales. On a déjà 20 décembre pour en bâtir d'autres pour le 21e siècle. Ah oui, pour le rock'n'roll, les bisous, les puis, je vous encourage à l'entraînement physique pour en faire sur la montagne. Ma deuxième maison ici pour en faire. De la maison ici pour les faire. De la maison ici pour les faire. Ma deuxième maison ici. Ma deuxième maison sur la montagne. La Mont-Royal pour en faire. 2, 3 pas par en arrière, par en avant, puis pour la descente qu'on s'en va. Je ménage pas sur la montagne, mais quand même, je vais faire pour un bon glissade ici. Ça glisse, puis je vais continuer pour moi d'aller chez nous parce que j'ai quand même passé du bon temps. Et c'est sur la montagne, encore. C'est pas officiellement l'hiver, mais l'hiver s'approche. Puis aujourd'hui, il fait tellement froid qu'on dirait qu'on est en hiver, même si officiellement ce n'est pas l'hiver. Mais quand même, on peut dire. En tout cas, la gratitude, j'ai payé mon loyer, j'ai payé ma facture d'électricité, j'ai du café, puis j'ai du thé, il me reste du thé, puis il me reste un peu de café. Donc je vais pouvoir faire quand même continuer le travailler en tant qu'artiste, athlète, philosophe et analyste théoricien indépendant en géopolitique. Je suis un analyste indépendant en géopolitique, théoricien, analyste ou analyste et théoricien en géopolitique qui a prévu, bien sûr, la situation qui se passe maintenant dans 2019, c'est ça que j'avais prévu. La situation actuelle qui se déroule en ce moment, je l'avais prévu, bien sûr, en 2019, basé sur mes analyses qui ont fondamentalement été basées sur le fait, bien sûr, que bien des pays, bien des régions, ils n'ont pas pu résoudre leurs problèmes, leur problème du 20e siècle, puis bien sûr, c'est ça que ça a fait, bien sûr, que ça a vu un débordement dans le 21e siècle. Mais ça, c'est un résumé, là, parce qu'il y avait bien plus de détails, puis mes analyses et théories en géopolitique peuvent être intenses, peuvent être bien sûr en bien des détails, puis ça fasse bien sûr pour les faire les détails de la plus en détail, mais pour en faire un résumé, là, c'est que j'ai conclu qu'à cause qu'ils n'ont pas été capables de régler leurs problèmes, c'est ça qu'ils ont fait, bien sûr, qu'ils n'ont pas été capables de régler les différentes nations, les civilisations, puis des régions géopolitiques qui n'ont pas été capables de régler leurs problèmes, leurs conflits du 20e siècle. Parallèlement, en Amérique du Nord, on a fait le grand compromis linguistique, qu'on continue à le faire. Hey, regardez un lapin. Vous savez, il est parti vite, sur la montagne, vite. Quand il est beau, checker là. Le lapin, c'est un lapin. Checker ça, il est là. Il va pas te chasser, j'ai de la nourriture. Vous inquiétez-vous pas, lapin. Inquiétez-vous pas, le lapin, je ne vais pas vous faire mal. Vous êtes beau, je vous aime, mais vous êtes assis de la flotte, c'est pour ça qu'il ne faut pas polluer, mais vous avez vu, c'est un lapin. Il y a des lapins ici, il y a bien des animaux ici sur la montagne, puis ils survivent, hein. Ils survivent l'hiver, c'est quelque chose, hein. Ils ont de quoi manger, ils se nourrissent, mais c'est pour ça qu'il faut faire attention. C'est la flore et la faune sur la montagne, comme laissez pas ça comme ça ici, hein. Tu sais, laissez ça dans l'évidence. Vous l'avez pas fini, je comprends. Tu sais, c'est pas fini, vous n'avez pas pu le finir, mais tu sais, le lapin, il aurait rongé ça, il aurait tombé malade, là. C'est-tu compostable, ça? Je vais checker. OK. Je pense pas que c'est compostable. Même si ça a été compostable, le lapin, tu sais, je pense pas, non, ça, c'est pas compostable, ça. Faut mettre ça dans le recyclage, là. Mais même que là, faut que je fasse une analyse, puis je le mets dans le recyclage parce qu'il n'a pas fini. Qu'est-ce que je vais faire? Un compromis. La paille, je vais mettre la paille dans le recyclage parce que la paille, elle peut être recyclée. La paille, mais ça, parce qu'il reste un peu dedans, je vais devoir la mettre dans les vidanges. Puis encore que c'est un événement de dragon contre Trump, hein, parce que depuis 2018, bien sûr, je fais appel à Trump pour me battre dans un combat de boxe à cause qu'il a fait de l'implémentation. Il a imposé des tarifs. En 2018, quand il était président la première fois, le printemps 2018, il a imposé des tarifs sur l'aluminium puis l'acier canadien de 10%. De 10%. C'est ça qui a imposé. Un tarif de 10%, bien sûr, qui a imposé des tarifs. Fait que... Comme ça, c'est important. Ne laissez pas là, mais il y a de la vidange. Comme ça, il y a une vidange, je vais mettre ça dans la vidange, puis ça, je vais mettre dans le recyclage, parce que la paille peut être recyclée. Puis là, je m'en vais chez nous, je me dirige vers chez nous, tranquillement par le coin. Fait que, encore une fois, la gratitude. Encore une fois, que je continue à faire appel à Trump pour me combattre dans un combat de boxe sur la frontière canado-états-unienne, puis construire le temple de la déesse oubliée parallèlement et vis-à-vis Colisée impérial du peuple nord-américain, du Colisée impérial du peuple nord-américain. Le Colisée impérial du peuple nord-américain, c'est la frontière canado-états-unienne, avec la maison du dragon. En écarlate, en rouge, en écarlate. C'est ça que je veux bâtir moi-même. Puis là, c'est important que je discute la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, avant que j'aie la batterie puis les piles. Je vais discuter ça. Puis ça va être un petit vidéo pour aujourd'hui. Donc, je vais discuter la TRD. Puis encore une fois, je vous encourage à faire l'entraînement physique. Puis moi, quand j'ai sorti de la dépression en 2018, c'est là que j'ai commencé mon entraînement physique. Après avoir traversé le Canada, en 2017, avant ça, j'étais en dépression, j'étais suicidaire. Puis cet événement-là, ça m'a fait vraiment un réveil. Ça m'a fait vraiment un réveil. Puis j'ai fondé un esprit de corps solide avec le Québec, le Canada, un esprit de force solide, un esprit de corps solide, un esprit de corps solide avec le Québec, le Canada. Puis depuis ce temps-là, je m'entraîne, j'ai créé mon propre système d'entraînement physique. Puis ça n'a pas été facile. Avec l'Asperger's, l'autisme hautement fonctionnel, l'Asperger's, ça a été une condition de neurodivergence. Ce n'est pas une maladie mentale, mais c'est quelque chose que je dois y travailler sur les symptômes. C'est pas vraiment des symptômes comme dans une maladie, c'est plutôt des caractéristiques qui sont de neurodivergence, qui peuvent sembler bizarres. Puis dans certaines choses, comme les interactions sociales, la communication non verbale et d'autres choses, on peut avoir bien de la misère, mais on a des intérêts que les gens appellent les neurotypiques, ils appellent obsessifs. Mais pour nous, les Aspi, les Asperger, qui ont l'autisme hautement fonctionnel, c'est des intérêts spéciaux. Puis quand je travaille dans ça, c'est vraiment constamment, ça préoccupe la plupart de mes routines du jour. C'est pour moi-même, c'est la trinité, c'est l'analyse en géopolitique. Je suis moi-même un analyste et théoricien en géopolitique indépendant avec l'entraînement physique, le sport. La danse est mon sport préféré. L'entraînement physique que je préfère, c'est aussi la danse. Mais le sport, l'entraînement, ça va être comme dans un paquet, là. C'est une chose. Là. Vraiment, l'entraînement physique, le sport puis la danse, ça rentre dans le conditionnement physique. Le sport, la danse, c'est quand même une unité, là, mais on le dit de manière différente. Puis le rock'n'roll, c'est ça les trois. La géopolitique, l'entraînement physique, le sport, soit la danse c'est mon sport que je préfère le plus. Le sport préféré, c'est la danse pour moi-même. Votre dragon arc-en-ciel, aussi l'entraînement physique que je préfère avec la marche danse. J'en crée des fois maintenant de la chorégraphie de danse constamment, tous les jours. Puis avec le rock'n'roll que je chante de la belle province, vous savez que je vous aime, Québécois, Québécoises, ouais, levé dans les airs, on danse dans la neige, hey! Mais, même quand il fait froid, ben oui, on danse, ah ouais, les jambes. 2, 3 bas, des pleines de laine, des bas ensemble, ouka! Et bon, j'avais prévu la situation actuelle en géopolitique. En 2019, j'ai prévu une conflagration internationale, une troisième guerre mondiale. Une troisième guerre mondiale basée, bien sûr, sur mes analyses. Ils n'ont pas été capables de résoudre bien des problèmes du 20e siècle. Puis ces problèmes-là, ces conflits-là, maintenant, ils ont repris. C'est ça qui se passe maintenant vraiment dans le monde. Les conflits du 20e siècle, surtout de la guerre froide, ils ont repris maintenant. Ils ont repris. C'est ça qui arrive en Russie bien en Ukraine. C'est ça qui arrive au Moyen-Orient. Au Moyen-Orient, bien sûr, au Moyen-Orient. C'est ça qui arrive, bien sûr, au Moyen-Orient. Israël, Palestine, le Hamas, Israël, le monde arabe. C'est ça qui arrive. Bien sûr, en Chine puis au Taïwan, c'est un autre potentiel conflit. Comme ici, je dis, on a fait le grand compromis linguistique. On a fait le grand compromis du français. C'est sûr que des fois, on se donne, on remet sur la table, on donne, mais des fois, tu sais, on doit changer, puis on change. On a beaucoup changé ces dernières années. Moi-même, j'ai changé beaucoup. J'ai survécu la COVID. Je dis souvent, je suis mort en 2020, février-mars, parce que la COVID, pour moi, c'était comme la mort, la pestilence puis la maladie. Là. C'était vraiment, je suis malade, puis je pensais que j'allais mourir, puis quand je me suis fait attaquer par surprise dans le métro de Montréal, puis j'ai tombé, je me cognais la tête, puis j'avais mon bras disloqué, j'étais quand même j'étais allé à l'hôpital, après ça j'étais comme dans un coma sur des médicaments chez nous, c'était comme dans un coma, comme des médicaments chez nous, puis après ça j'ai comme un blackout de mémoire, là, comme un blackout de mémoire après ça, fait que ça a fait comme un blackout de mémoire. Et bien sûr, c'est ça que ça l'a fait. C'est ça que ça l'a fait, bien sûr, le blackout de mémoire, you know, c'est le blackout de mémoire, you know, ça. Un blackout de mémoire, you know, ça. C'est des choses comme ça qu'il faut qu'on fasse, mais Comme un blackout de mémoire, comme l'amnésie qu'on appelle, l'amnésie. La TRD, théorie de la reffusion de la dette, je dois vous la discuter méchant, puis c'est la seule unique théorie qui peut nous sauver, puis ça c'est mon gratte-ciel que je préfère le plus, c'est mon gratte-ciel préféré avec le rouge, puis le vert, puis ça fait penser à l'armée du dragon, puis l'armée de la déesse, puis c'est deux institutions complémentaires que je veux par un partenariat public-privé pour l'Union de l'Amérique du Nord, pour faire la création d'une monnaie d'échange commune, un passeport commun, puis c'est important qu'on fasse un consensus de l'Amérique du Nord, de ceux qui sont au Canada ou en Amérique du Nord depuis 2017, depuis juillet 2024, 2017, disons, 2017. Bon. La TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. 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 C'est la seule unique solution. On paye 46,5 milliards d'intérêts sur la dette publique. Cette année-là, cette année fiscale, on paye 46,5 milliards d'intérêts. C'est ça le montant d'intérêt qu'on paye sur la dette publique. Vous imaginez-vous? 1 milliard, c'est en 9 zéros, c'est 1000 millions, ça. Imaginez-vous, c'est un chiffre énorme. En 2020-2021, le montant était de 20,3 milliards. 20,3 milliards fois 2, 20,3 milliards fois 2, ça aurait été 40,6 milliards. Fait que là, c'est rendu à 46,5 milliards. 46,5 milliards. 46,5 milliards. Ça, c'est un chiffre énorme. Il n'y a pas de solution à ça. On est arrivé de... Ça, c'est un scénario vraiment extrême, mais quand même, c'est possible que dès qu'on change l'année fiscale 2025, février, première semaine de février, qu'il y ait qu'est-ce qu'on appelle en anglais un Black Swan Event. Un Black Swan Event, un Black Swan Event. Puis, même la première semaine de février, c'est possible dès janvier. Un effondrement des finances publiques canadiennes. C'est possible qu'il y ait un effondrement des finances publiques canadiennes. C'est possible qu'il y ait un effondrement des finances publiques canadiennes. C'est extrême, mais j'ai la solution. C'est un paradoxe à cause de l'Asperger, sur ce que l'autisme mouvement fonctionnel. J'ai étudié pendant bien des années dans la géopolitique. Puis c'est ça que je peux vous faire. De la géopolitique. Puis dans la géopolitique, quand on étudie la géopolitique, on doit connaître un peu des finances publiques. Là, je vous ai présenté, vous pouvez voir vous-même les chiffres. C'est des chiffres qui existent publics. C'est des chiffres publics. La dette publique, c'est des informations publiques. Vous pouvez voir avec la Banque du Canada. Donc, on va prendre toute la dette. Puis, je vous explique la TRD maintenant, parce qu'il n'y a pas d'autre solution. Là. On paye 46,5 milliards d'intérêts sur la dette publique. Vous imaginez-vous, c'est un chiffre énorme. 46,5 milliards. Là. Dans ma TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, ça inclut la théorie d'intégration monétaire. Donc, inclus dans ma théorie est intégrée la théorie d'intégration monétaire. La théorie d'intégration monétaire, c'est la théorie que les Européens ont fait l'implémentation dans les années 90. Ça fait plus que 25 ans. Les Allemands, les Italiens, les Français, plusieurs pays ont détruit leur banque centrale nationale. Ils ont annulé leur... Ils ont détruit leur banque centrale nationale, puis ils ont détruit leur banque centrale nationale, ils ont détruit leur banque centrale nationale, ils ont annulé leur monnaie, le Deutschmark, le Liran, le franc en France. Ils ont annulé tout ça. Ils ont détruit ça. Ils ont fait la création de la Banque centrale européenne, la ECB, la Banque centrale européenne, la Banque BCE, la BCE, Banque centrale européenne, banque supranationale, qui est au-delà du nationalisme. Au-delà du nationalisme. Pour ça qu'en Amérique du Nord, je dis souvent, je suis québécois, canadien, nord-américain. En tant que philosophe, je dis qu'on constitue un collectif de civilisation. On constitue un collectif de civilisation nord-américain. On constitue un collectif de civilisation nord-américain. On constitue un collectif de civilisation nord-américain. On constitue un collectif de civilisation. Un collectif de civilisation, un collectif. Ici, il n'y a pas d'autre solution. La TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. TRD, théorie, refusion de la dette. Donc, on va prendre toute la dette publique-privée. Ma dette, votre dette, ta dette. Mon 10 000, toute la dette publique-privée, de côte à côte. Toute la dette publique-privée, mon 10 000, ton 10 000, que taille ou non 10 000, mais moi j'ai 10 000 $ de dette à la Banque royale du Canada. Fait qu'on va prendre toute la dette publique-privée, toute cette dette-là, de côte à côte. On va faire la conversion de toute la dette publique privée canadienne dans la devise des États-Unis. Dans le dollar des États-Unis, parce que le dollar des États-Unis est encore la devise de choix pour le finance du monde, l'import, l'export, le tourisme, la diplomatie mondiale, puis d'autres affaires des finances internationales, puis des échanges bancaires, transactions bancaires. Bon, fait qu'on va convertir toute la dette publique-privée du Canada de côte à côte. Toute la dette publique-privée, on va convertir dans la devise des États-Unis. Fait que tout cet argent-là, on va faire la conversion dans la devise des États-Unis. Tout cet argent-là, on va faire la refusion. Premièrement, au Canada, il faut faire l'implémentation de ma théorie, la TRD, parce qu'il n'y a pas d'autre choix. Là. On paye 46,5 milliards. 46,5 milliards! C'est 46 000 millions, là. Ça a plus que doublé en 3 ans. C'est sûr qu'à cause de la COVID, il y a dû avoir des protocoles, l'implémentation des protocoles qui ont été implémentés. À cause pour sauver les gens, pour qu'ils soient, pour les sauver. Moi aussi, j'ai eu la COVID, je pensais que j'allais mourir. Je dis souvent, je suis mort où j'habite maintenant, la grotte de dragon arc-en-ciel, puis je suis en train de renaître. Ma renaissance, je veux la vôtre aussi, puis je suis pour la défense seulement, la défense, la sécurité puis le service, la sécurité puis le service, la sécurité puis le service. Bien sûr, on va faire ensemble, on va prendre toute la dette publique-privée, 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 on va refuser ensemble, on va faire la refusion ensemble, on va faire la refusion ensemble, on va faire bien sûr la refusion ensemble. On va faire la refusion ensemble. Toute la dette publique-privée. Fait qu'on va convertir, bien sûr, dans la devise des États-Unis, dans la devise des États-Unis, dans la devise des États-Unis, dans la devise des États-Unis. Bon, on va faire le ramassage, bien sûr. Tout cet argent-là, on va faire la refusion. On va ramasser toute la dette publique privée de côte à côte. Tout cet argent-là, bien sûr, ça va fonder une nouvelle banque. Ça va fonder une nouvelle banque. Fait que tout cet argent-là, bien sûr, on va faire la fondation d'une nouvelle banque, une nouvelle banque, bien sûr. Fait que tout l'argent, ça va faire la refusion d'une nouvelle banque qu'on va faire la refusion. Donc, la Banque de l'Amérique du Nord, la Banque de l'Amérique du Nord. Fait que tout cet argent-là, ça va faire bien sûr une refusion. Fait qu'on va faire la création d'une nouvelle monnaie. Fait que toute la dette publique-privée, on va faire une refusion. Toute la dette publique-privée, on va faire une refusion. On va faire une refusion, bien sûr. On va faire une refusion. Fait que toute la dette publique-privée, on va faire une refusion, bien sûr. Toute la dette publique-privée, on va faire une refusion. Ma dette, votre dette, ta dette. On va la prendre ensemble, on va la prendre ensemble. Toute la dette publique-privée, convertie dans la devise des États-Unis, Fait qu'on va faire la conversion de toute la dette publique-privée pour avoir le montant en devise des États-Unis. Canada premièrement, États-Unis après. Tout cet argent-là, ça va fonder l'argent initial pour une nouvelle banque. Canada premièrement, ça peut être États-Unis après. Après ça, l'Amérique du Nord, Mexique. Font partie du collectif nord-américain, c'est un pays nord-américain. L'Haïti, le Cuba. Bien sûr, le Cuba, puis avec le Cuba, bien sûr. Avec Cuba, c'est un paradoxe. Socialiste communiste, Jamaïque, tout ça. Mais premièrement au Canada, binational en même temps, par préférence. Fait que toute la dette publique-privée, comme on dit dans la devise des États-Unis, ça va fonder l'argent initial pour une nouvelle banque. On va créer une nouvelle banque, puis l'argent en circulation initiale, ça va être toute la dette publique-privée. Toute la dette publique-privée convertie dans la devise des États-Unis, ça va être l'argent initial en circulation pour la création de cette nouvelle banque. On va faire la création d'une nouvelle monnaie. On va appeler l'UI, U point unité, E point échange, U point universel. La création de l'UI, de l'unité, la nouvelle monnaie, ça va s'appeler l'UI. U point unité, E point échange, U point universel. U point unité, E point échange, U point universel. En anglais, c'est pareil, donc on ne s'ostinera pas. Le UI, l'unité d'échange universelle. L'unité d'échange universelle, l'unité d'échange universelle. Le UI. La création de l'unité d'échange universelle. 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 Fait que la création de cette nouvelle monnaie, on va pouvoir faire bien de choses avec des bonnes choses, avec ça, bien sûr. Avec cet argent-là, on va pouvoir faire bien des choses. Qu'on va pouvoir faire bien des choses avec cet argent-là. On va pouvoir faire bien des bonnes choses, des bonnes choses avec cet argent-là. On va pouvoir faire, bien sûr, bien des choses. La création de l'unité d'échange universelle. Donc, on va pouvoir faire bien des choses. Fait que la création de l'unité d'échange universelle, ça va être la UI. Avec cet argent-là, on va pouvoir rebâtir l'infrastructure de l'Amérique du Nord, bâtir plus de centrales de l'Hydro-Québec, bâtir plus de centrales de l'Hydro-Québec, bâtir plus de centrales de l'Hydro-Québec, bâtir plus de centrales de l'Hydro-Québec. On va pouvoir, bien sûr, bâtir plus de centrales de l'Hydro-Québec, bâtir 44 tunnels dans le cas d'une guerre nucléaire, inspirer les 44 tunnels, bâtir, construire 44 avant 45, après 43, c'est 44. 44 tunnels basés, inspirés par le village souterrain de Montréal. Le village souterrain de Montréal. Dans le cas d'une guerre thermonucléaire, pour la continuité d'une guerre nucléaire, pour la continuité d'une guerre nucléaire. Pour la continuité d'une guerre nucléaire. Pour la continuité d'une guerre nucléaire. Pour la continuité de la civilisation nord-américaine dans le cas d'une guerre thermonucléaire. C'était un de mes documents que j'avais écrit il comme 7 ans, 6 ans, 7 ans. Peut-être plus que 7 ans, plus que 5 ans. Mais avant 2019, entre 2017 et 2020. Là. Puis j'ai continué durant la COVID. J'ai prévu la situation actuelle. Donc, des finances publiques canadiennes, c'est la seule solution. Vous pouvez vous obstiner tant que vous voudrez pendant 7 ans, 11 ans, 44 ans et plus, là, mais il n'y a pas d'autre solution que la T, théorie, R, refusion de la dette, pour la création de l'unité d'échange universelle aussi. L'unité d'échange universelle, la création de l'unité d'échange universelle. C'est la seule et unique solution, il n'y a pas d'autre solution en ce moment. C'est ça qu'il faut faire. Là. Ça presse, c'est important qu'on commence. Ça commence par moi-même aujourd'hui, en faisant cette marche entraînement physique de rock'n'roll, puis en me dirigeant chez nous parce que je commence à avoir faim un peu, puis il fait moins fret, là. Commence à neiger un peu, fait qu'il fait moins fret. Ça me dérange pas l'hiver, j'aime bien l'hiver. Les 4 saisons, je suis 4 saisons sur la montagne, ma deuxième maison, blablabla. Puis la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, puis avec ça, l'implémentation de ma TRD, parallèlement faisant l'opération Scorpion du Nord, parce qu'un scorpion nordique, il se trouve la seule espèce de scorpion qui vient jusqu'au Canada. Puis ça fait ma théorie pour la stratégie de défense, puis d'intégration citoyenne. Et bien sûr, parallèlement à la théorie de la fusion démocratique, puis l'opération Scorpion du Nord basée sur ma théorie de défense mobile totale, ma théorie de défense mobile totale, ma théorie pour la défense mobile totale, pour la défense de côte à côte, la défense, la sécurité et le service. Puis c'est ça mon rêve, qui est fondamentalement un appel à un partenariat public-privé. Le royaume de la déesse et du dragon qui danse. Le royaume de la déesse et du dragon qui danse est fondamentalement un appel à un partenariat public-privé pour le collectif l'Amérique du Nord, puis le Québec et le Canada, puis on s'unit, on fait un consensus de tous les gens qui habitent au Québec et au Canada, puis ou en Amérique du Nord depuis 2017, puis on va faire la création d'un nouveau passeport, puis on va pouvoir le faire en 2017, on va pouvoir faire ces protocoles, et bien sûr, on va pouvoir faire plus de bonnes choses, financer les gens au tourisme, parce que moi, ça m'a vraiment changé ma vie. J'étais en dépression, puis suicidaire. Avant 2007, puis quand j'ai traversé le Canada, j'ai fondé un esprit de corps solide. Vous êtes ma famille, québécois, des Américains aussi, puis veux pas, bien sûr. Avec le bizarre, comment je suis avec l'Asperger's, l'autisme, mais juste quand même, bon, quelque chose sur la table, la TRD, puis pour l'armée du dragon et l'armée parallèlement de la déesse qui danse, on est le 20 décembre, puis joyeuse fête s'en vient, je vous encourage à faire l'entraînement physique, puis on va chez nous, je vais pas faire un gros long vidéo, puis c'est quand même quelque chose que ça a fait aujourd'hui. Donc, rock and roll, amour et santé, santé, amour. Puis, hey, faites l'amour ensemble. C'est mon message principal. Puis, c'est ça que ça a fait. Donc, rock and roll.